One last thing I want to talk to you about before we begin creating our own pages is Dreamweaver's ability to preview web pages within itself or giving you the ability to preview within a browser. So, as you are creating your web pages, you'll notice that from time to time there's going to be the need to see what this particular web page will look like in the browser. In order to illustrate this better, I'm just going to collapse my icons by clicking right over here. And you'll notice a couple of things. Well, here I am in design view. Remember, there's code, there's split, and there's the design views right at the top here. And you'll notice I've got squared edges to this particular file. That's fine, would be great, but I know that when creating this, I had asked for the containing element to have a rounded corner, and we'll get to how to do that in CSS a little bit later. But in order to preview this within Dreamweaver directly, you can always go to the live view. And when you do that, you'll notice, yes, I see the rounded corners on this particular file. This is using the WebKit rendering engine directly within Dreamweaver. Now, the WebKit rendering engine is something that we normally associate with the Safari browser or Google Chrome. Once you've got it in live view, that's fine, but as you may or may not need from time to time, you will want to see what something looks like in another rendering engine. So rather than working with Google Chrome or Safari, you might want to see what this looks like inside of Firefox or Internet Explorer. In order to preview in the browser, one of the ways you can do that is to go to this little globe icon that's right here at the top. If you click on this, you'll see that right now it says preview in Google Chrome or preview in Safari. These are two browsers that I have installed and worked with. However, what we want to do is to add another browser to this list. We want to work with Firefox. So the easiest way to do this is to just go to the Edit Browser list. And if I were to open this up, you'll see that it opens up the preferences. Now, I'll just cancel this for a second and show you that you can always do this if you're on a Mac by going to the Dreamweaver Preferences, or if you're on a PC, you can go to Edit Preferences. So, I can do the same thing by going right up here to the Preferences, open up the Preferences, and you'll see the category called Preview in Browser. We'll take a look at some of these other things in other movies, but at the moment, I just want to focus on previewing in browser. So you'll see our list of Google Chrome and Safari. There's also shortcuts associated with them. Because I'm on a Mac, the shortcut says Command F12 or Option F12. If you're on a PC, it'll just say F12 or some other options as well. And you'll notice that these particular files or these particular applications, browsers, have been indicated as being my primary browser or my secondary browser, and doing so will just give you different shortcuts to activate them. These shortcuts, these hotkeys, will be different ways of previewing in the browser without necessarily having to click on the globe icon. So what I want to be doing is adding another one to my list. Now, if you want to add any number of browsers to this list, all you have to have is that browser installed on your computer. And if you don't have Firefox or Google Chrome for that matter, or Internet Explorer, then all you got to do is to go online, download those, and install them on your system. Once they're on your computer, however, you can then go to the plus sign that we have right here, and you could add the information path, but it's probably easiest just to browse for them. So I'm just going to go to my applications folder, and we're going to look for Firefox, and there it is. So I'll open up Firefox. I'm not going to put it as my primary or secondary browser because I already have a primary and secondary, but I'm going to click OK, and now there's my list. So now if I click OK, and I came back to the little globe icon, you'll see that Preview in Firefox is there. One last thing before we actually preview this, you'll notice that when I'm not in live view, just in the design view, you'll see the globe here, and more often than not, there should be no problems. You can activate it directly. So whether you're in live view or otherwise, you can work with this. So if I wanted to, I could now preview this in Firefox. It may ask you to save changes if you've made any changes. So I'm just going to say OK for the moment, just to see what that looks like. And as you can see right here, I actually happen to have Firefox open. And Firefox is now previewing exactly what this browser will look like for me. If I wanted to, I could also preview this in any other browser that's on my list. And you could also use shortcuts. So instead of actually pressing anything, I could use the shortcuts that we had indicated right here, and that would open up the files. So as you'll see, I'm opening this one up in Google Chrome. And now we happen to have Google Chrome at our disposal here. And you can see all the stuff that's associated with that as well. So it's really important to get to know and ensure that you have a consistent view through all of the different browsers at our disposal to ensure that your audience is going to be seeing your website exactly the way you intended. Another thing that's on this list, however, is preview in Adobe Browser Lab. And in another video, I'll show you exactly what that means. It's a service that's offered by Adobe, which allows you to preview your work in multiple browsers, all at the same time. And if you're on a PC or a Mac, it'll also give you the option to preview what your work will look like, not only in different browsers, but different browsers on different operating systems. It's a really nice feature, and that's why we're going to explore that on its own dedicated video. So let's come back in the next video and we're going to start working on our own files.